am very concerned about the fact that a lot of young people are being encouraged to take the day off school, even by their teachers, a lot by their parents. One of my daughter's friends, when her parents took the kid to the last one, she said, are you at the climate strike? I said, have you met me? I feel very strongly about a number of issues. None of those issues I feel strong enough about to take my child out of school, because her job as a 12-year-old is to be at school. That is what her job is. Do you think it's right that teachers, we've seen some education unions actually giving information, encouraging children to take the day off school? Because we could just as easily have this climate change protest on a Saturday and no one miss any lessons.
Yeah, I think it is right. And it's part of course, something that isn't new. This is something that young people around the world have been doing in greater numbers, on the Fridays for the Future initiative that Greta Thunberg started. And they've shown incredible leadership. And of course, they're asking adults now to follow them and support them. I'm loving seeing schools actually doing what one of your commentators just said, which is they are putting on events in schools. And so clearly it's having an impact in the schools. I've got emails from my children's schools saying they're going to have a focus on climate change today. And other schools are encouraging their pupils, and teachers encouraging their pupils to go and join in the climate strike.
You think that's appropriate? Because I mean, having lessons about this issue, if the children are interested, okay, absolutely fair enough. You can combine the science, the geography. There's lots to learn here, and people should have the facts. But bunking off school for the day because you feel strongly about something, I don't think is a lesson we should be teaching our children.
Sure. I mean, I don't know whether you've been down to the Fridays for the Future events. I have myself, and I've gone down and I've spent time with young people. I've spoken to them, I've supported them, I've marched with them, I've done Facebook Lives with them, I've interviewed them, and they have shown a remarkable knowledge already.
Have they? Because all the people I see interviewed on the telly know absolutely nothing.
Well, not the ones I've met. I don't, I've chatted to them. Come down with me today, and let's meet some together.
No, I've got a long haul flight to book. I haven't got time.
But actually, what they are doing in schools is they are learning about climate change in a way that we were never taught when we were at school. I imagine we were a similar age.
It wasn't happening then, of course. Not when I was at school, Jonathan.
It was happening there. And remember the initiatives on Blue Peter about recycling, how it's good for the planet, and the global heating and the ozone layers. It was taught then, and we were just learning all about it. Now they know a hell of a lot more, actually, than a lot of adults I talk to on the doorstep.
But are you not concerned about the level? I mean, we've seen some reports recently about the psychological problems children are having. This sort of doomsday stuff. I mean, lots of people listening right now might have grown up at a time when we were told, that there could be nuclear war at any point in the middle of the Cold War. There was lots of doomsday stuff around. A lot of people growing up during wars. But we've got young children now growing up in a world that's safer than it's ever been, where fewer people live in poverty, few people die of disease, people live longer, low infant mortality, fewer people are in poverty. I mean, the world has never been a better place. Being born today is the best time ever to be born, other than being born tomorrow. And yet our children are being told they should be anxious, that they should panic. Everyone's fating a 16-year-old autistic girl who's saying that we should be panicking, that we are in crisis. Now, even the science behind what these people are saying doesn't say we should be panicking. It says look, we should be moving to renewable energy. We should be making sure we're not throwing plastic and all our rubbish into the sea. This is all really obvious stuff, and that governments, certainly in the West, are moving towards this now. But to tell children that this is a crisis, that the world is going to end, we've got 18 months, Extinction Rebellion say, to save the planet, that we need to be basically going back to horse and carts by 2025, or the planet's going to die. This is doomsday cult scenario stuff. We shouldn't be teaching our children to be afraid like this, should we?
Actually, it's scientists don't tell us what we should do, but they tell us.
Yeah, they do. They do that all the time nowadays.
What the situation is, and the IPCC report that came out in October last year said very, very clearly that we've got just 11 years to prevent apocalypse.
But hold on a minute, those warnings, since about 1979, we've had one of those warnings pretty much every couple of years. We're still here, and the planet hasn't warmed that much, and everything's still functioning, and we're all still alive.
You are kidding me, right? We've just seen extreme weather events around the world. We've seen people dying. We've seen climate refugees. We know that the planet is heating, and we're worried.
We've seen people dying. You know that the percentage of people who die. Well, the number of people who die from extreme weather events is now down by something like 90% in the last 50 years. Did you know that?
1 degree. We've gone up. I'm probably going to do a quiz, and we can trade facts, but the facts are that we can agree on is the planet has heated 1 degree, that we've got to keep it below 1.5 degrees. We're on course for 3 degrees, and we face feedback loops, which means we'll lose control of it completely when more carbon is pumped out as the planet.
I think you could, or you also know, you say we're on target for 3 degrees, but we also know that 3 degrees is at the very, very, very top of the reasonable predictions being made, and that every single computer model that has predicted everything so far has always massively overestimated. We haven't warmed anything like to the extent that we were supposed to have warmed by this stage.
Julia, you can go on banging on about...
Was that true or not? Well, I mean, was that true or false, what I just said?
Look,
it was true, wasn't it? I mean, it was true.
Let me tell you why these climate strikes are important. It's because...
No, please. No, you said I was banging on. Was what I said true or false?
Well, repeat what you said. Julia, you talk more than I have in this interview, right? I thought I was coming on to talk about the climate strikes. Let me tell you why these climate strikes are important. They're important because people like you are pretending and denying that the science actually exists and we have to do something about it. These young people, Julia, these young people know more than you do about climate change. They have grasped the urgency. It's their future that matters. And why
does my future not matter? I'm only 51. I'm not planning to die that soon.
They are going to be around here a hell of a lot longer than you are. And they are the ones that are going to have to pay the consequences. Now, they are showing the leadership which you and other commentators should have shown over the last 10 years. This is an emergency. The science is undeniable. And you can go on with your crazy conspiracy theories about how...
What conspiracy theory?
People are whipping up into a frenzy that's unnecessary. This is an emergency. The house is on fire. This is an existential crisis. We are facing massive species extinction. People are dying because of extreme weather events right now.
Are more people dying from extreme weather events now than they were 10, 20, 30, 40 or 50 years ago?
You are being so irresponsible in the way you...
When using... Jonathan, I'm not a conspiracy theorist and I'm not denying science. I'm simply saying, can we have a conversation about this based on some actual facts instead of fear-mongering? You're saying people are dying from extreme weather. Something like, I think the figure is in the region of 90% drop in the fall in the number of more people on the planet, and yet fewer people now die from extreme weather events than they ever did.
Because we're developing some resilience, but we know that that's sustainable. We know that...
How do we know it's not sustainable?
Because we know that the planet's heating. It's going to heat a lot more than it already has. There are going to be more extreme weather events, and there's only a certain amount of mitigation that we can do. And it's particularly those in developing countries, those that are poor, those that don't have the investment, that don't have the resilience that we have in the West, which are going to suffer the most. And those are the ones we should really be worried about. We can trade statistics about how many people are dying every year. We know that extreme weather events are getting worse, that more and more people are going to die. There are going to be massive displacements of people as a result. Vast sections of the world are going to become uninhabitable if we don't turn this thing around. And that is what the scientists are saying.